I mean, it might be an understatement. I mean, it's not an overstatement. It's perfect. That was one of the greatest nights I've ever experienced of watching anything in my life. It was amazing. And to have you cap it off and win the title when you're facing a guy that everybody thought was at least number 2 pound for pound. It was like him and Islam are number 1 and number 2. Mm-hmm. And some odds had you at 6-1, which I thought was very disrespectful. I thought like this is crazy. Like 6-1's crazy. Like Ilya's really good, but so's Justin. This is kind of nuts. Like to have you win the way you won in front of the fucking White House.
Yeah.
How's it feel?
Oh, it's really not real yet. I was expecting to have like an internal sense of relief that like I don't have something to chase because I was always chasing this belt. And I was expecting to wake up with like some kind of natural release of pressure, but I don't know. I don't feel that. As the days go by, every day I feel a little bit more. 2 days ago, my dad was like, what was it like waking up being the champion? And I was like, I haven't even thought about that. And then I was, on the shitter like 10 minutes later, and I was sitting there thinking about it. I was like, wow, I'm the fucking champion. Like, it's fucking crazy. And yeah, it's just, I've just been on the grind for so many years now. My dad dropped me off 19 years ago in Colorado. I knew nobody to wrestle. And yeah, to see where I'm at now is just absolutely incredible. There's really no way to explain how or why, or like why I deserve it or what. I worked my ass off. I have made mistakes. I've done things the wrong way, but I've always corrected and got back on the path. And, I think the coaches, the mentors, but mostly the coaches that I've been, and the team that I have around me is a huge reason why I was able to stay on track and just keep moving forward and keep trusting that, I belong in the top of the league.
Well, you've clearly shown it throughout your career, and having a great coach like Trevor, and one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you in, Trevor, is because you guys have a very unique relationship. First of all, I love the YouTube series, The Art of Violence, fantastic. Yeah. And what's great is watching you two guys work together, and Trevor, you being like very acutely aware of when to pull him back, when to ramp it up, when to push. Like you guys having a relationship like that is so critical because you guys know each other so well. You've seen him perform so many times. You've seen him fight and perform in the gym that you know where he's at all the time. And having that sense of where your fighter is at any given time in camp because you know him so well, boy, that's a giant advantage.
It is.
Well, hold on.
Oh my God.
There we go.
Testes, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think that's a huge advantage is knowing your athlete. And, I've been doing this for a long period of time, but there's lots of coaches out there that consider their fighters their friends. I do consider them one of my best friends, but I put myself more in like a father position of I need to know when to tell them the truth. And I've got myself in trouble with that with fighters where you tell them the truth so hard that you have to let them go. Like a child, like, hey, if we're not on the same beliefs, go live life and see how it is. And then when you return, I'm still going to love you. Having that type of thing where I have to be dead honest for your career, not because it helps us now and it feels good right now at the moment. I have to look at that from the time that we start and we talk about, what are his goals. And then my job is to be an advisor, be a mentor to get him to that place as best as I can because these are his goals. And I want to support those. And in the beginning of his career, his goals were to be the most violent guy out there, the most remembered, the guy that every time someone bought a ticket, they remembered Justin Gaethje selling that show. And then it turned into, no, I want to have this belt. And that was hard because we did go and not get the belt twice. And, it's so cool to be in kind of those scenarios where it's like, damn, you had 2 opportunities. Now it's never going to happen. And that's what life is. Life is one of those things that you keep getting up and chase your goals. You never know how it's going to happen. And yes, you want to dream and you want to have you want to have a plan. But I'll tell you right now, through all the times that I've had championship fighters in business and in life, the plans never work. You always have to adjust them. But it's that dream and that vision to get you to the top of the stairs. You have to get up each one of those steps. So, Justin went out there and wrote a story that I don't think will ever be forgotten, and he did it one round at a time. And that's what impresses me, because his mindset, I love the mental game. I love to talk about the mental game. Even like Ilya. Ilya is a special guy with how he uses his mental. The secret, the if I see it, I believe it, it'll happen. To a point, it's like I always tell people, like, if you go down the ice cream aisle and you're like, hey, I don't know what ice cream I want, you're going to stand there and go, oh, that one looks good, that one looks good, that one looks better. The people that are like, I want mint chocolate chip, you get in there, you get it done, you grab that mint chocolate chip and you walk out. Very similar to Ilya's last 3 fights. He went out there and he demanded what he wanted. His confidence got him through that. But it makes it very hard when you get that stale, nasty, rotten milk fucking mint chocolate chip. Then you start to go, oh, shit, what is going to happen now? So I think the relationship that we have is me guiding him, me pulling him back at the Strickler situation. Hey, let's pull back a little bit. Let's focus on what's going on. I don't want no distractions. And having someone, and he trusts that I care about him. I love him to death. I love his family. Like, our relationship is so strong, and I need that with my athletes. And I'm just blessed and 100, I say honored, but more importantly, humbled by someone who I've never worked mental with, who shows me different ways to the mental game of fighting, which I feel I'm very high level with. It's something that if you put yourself around people that make you better, this guy makes me better daily, and I'm very grateful for that.
You said something about Ilya, about the fight, about having expectations. And you said you don't have any expectations when you fight. Yeah. That way you don't get thrown off.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's huge. I mean, my expectations come from my hard work. Obviously, I expect my body to perform. I understand that I've trained my mind to, and maybe the narcissistic tendencies in me love showing off and performing in front of thousands of people on that stage. That's what I love the most about this, and that's what my personality, like, I'm very competitive. I want to win, but I'm never going to lie to myself, and that's how I've never had a coach in my entire career since 4 years old of wrestling have to pull me aside and talk about the mental aspect of competition, because it's always been so natural to me. I'm not sure if it's because they see that I'm doing good and that they agree with my approach mentally, or they don't understand what's going on, but I've just always been so comfortable and so content with my situation of, this is a competition, it's a game. I'm very competitive, I'm very petty, I take everything personal. And yeah, when I go in there with I have gone in with expectations, and I said it before the fight, Ilya, like, I said so many true things to him, and I think it's such an asset to tell someone the brutal truth, especially someone like him, because it pushes them farther away from the truth. Even if I tell him the exact truth and exactly what's going to happen, and you're making a mistake by having all these expectations, and when we go to round 2 and when we go to round 3 and it's not going as you predicted it or wanted it to or expected it to, then where do you go from there? And I said that exact thing to him, and then that pushed him farther away from it. And
it's almost like he wanted to prove you wrong.
Yeah, he wanted to prove himself right.
Yeah.
And he was unwilling to be open to opinions, and because obviously I don't know him, he knows him better than himself. But I got here because I am coachable. I got here because I listen. I use every like I posted yesterday. Every person, place, or thing that has happened to me or for me has ultimately molded my mind and my body to be able to deal with the situation that happened on Sunday night. And I can pull so much experience from the past, my losses, my wins, setbacks, failures, accomplishments. I mean, there is so much to learn from it. Every day is a learning experience, and I constantly try to learn and be better. And I don't know why I'm able to perform like that. I think I just think it's who I am. When I say I wanted to be the most exciting fighter ever, it's not that I wanted to be the most exciting fighter ever. The thought of that was fucking cool to me. But I was just being me. And I've been blessed to be able to, through my childhood, through coming from a small town, through having, unwavering support from my family and my friends and my coaches and my teachers and everybody from it's just crazy to be able to come out on top. I mean, it's just crazy.
One of the things I think was a giant factor in the fight is that you have been in wars. You've been in a bunch of wars.
Yeah.
And Ilya really had only had some rough moments against Jai Herbert. Yusuf Zalal gave him some problems, but it was nothing serious. The wars that you've been in, these just down and dirty brawls that you've been in, you're comfortable with the back and forth. You're comfortable with enduring. You know that you're not going to break. If your body holds up, you're going to keep fighting and you can endure. I don't think he'd ever experienced that before. So when you didn't break in the second round, and I think he made a mistake, and I think you're correct about that. You said he made a mistake by going to the ground.
Absolutely.
And that he hurt you to the body.
I told Trevor yesterday, I think, him hurting to my body was one of the main reasons I won. When he hit me, when I dropped, it wasn't the first time he hit me in the body. That was probably like the fourth or fifth one. And he had landed some really clean shots, and he could probably sense that I was in trouble and hurt. And I think that fact made him dump everything because it was his last chance to take me out. And he almost did take me out. But when I went down, in hindsight, it's always easy to make these decisions in hindsight. But when I went down, he's had way more submissions than he has knockouts. And so for him not to have that belief that he's going to be able to go down there, especially with the Khabib fight, especially with the Charles Oliveira fight, especially with all the negativity around my grappling, I think he would have been foolish not to, because I would have stood back up. And he would have charged forward, tried to finish me. I would have jumped on his legs. I would have pulled guard. He was going to end up on top of me no matter what. I wasn't going to sit there and trade with him again. Like, I would have, front rolled into grappling situations or whatever. I would have made him cover me. But I think me getting hit is what made him completely blow his, Shane Carwin-esque, blow his tank.
Yeah.
And, go for the win. And I think that was the choice he had to make because it was going to continue to get worse. I beat his ass in the first round. Like, it might have been close on the scorecards. I absolutely took the first round, but the amount of damage that I inflicted in the first round set up the rest of the fight.
I do think it was a mistake. And you're saying, what you're saying is so correct. But what I'm saying is from a standpoint of him demanding it, he's going to finish you in the first two. Understanding the damage that he was taking, he took big risks. He got in there. He kept his hands on your collarbones. He was landing really good shots. Yeah, the two body shots before that left hook to the liver, that the sound it made was crazy. That last one was clean. It was precise and deep, but you could tell it was already there. But if he didn't put that pressure on himself, and this is what I mean by mistake, is like when you come out, you have to know that you're going 5 rounds. And he knew that he had to unleash everything right there. If he would have been smart in that scenario saying, hey, we got 5 rounds, let me step back a little bit, let me do some damage. But also he's like, hey, let me get you out of there quick. Justin, can't grapple, can't do all these things what a lot of people think, which Justin's a great grappler. And what was so smart about you is when you get tired, that's where the worst decisions happen. That's one of my big things as coaching is we get someone tired and then we make them make bad decisions and then we capitalize on those mistakes. Justin was able to stay so composed here with being speared to the body. And when you take a liver shot, it is way different than the headshot. A headshot's like taking a shot with your buddies at the bar. It's like, hey, let's go. But you take a body shot, you're dying. Like your liver shot, you feel like you're dying. And Justin, all the decisions he made on the ground, from the triangle, from the armbar, from not being flat, so many good decisions were made in that scenario, and I do think it was a mistake. Obviously, there's so many different ways it could go, but those type of moments in fights are what make fights great, is overcoming obstacles. And he had set that up. He had said it. He's like, hey, I'm going to overcome anything. I'm going out there to put the worst thing out there. Like, what are you going to do to me? I've already been knocked out the last second of a freaking huge fight by Max. Like, you can't do nothing worse to me. And that mindset, I think, is something to take away for all the fighters out there. That always, I love how you say it. expect a war, always. Some of the biggest mistakes that I've made with fighters that I had is allowing them to think that they're going to go through this fight easy, and then that fight becomes super hard. You think it's going to be a war, then you're like, hey, it wasn't as bad as I was expecting, even if it was a little bit of a war.
They're not going to help him in that moment.
Yeah.
There's no pulling him out.
That's fighting. Fighting is mentality. I look at this like there's techniques out there and there's things like that. What makes this sport inspirational and makes someone that want to go out there and beat cancer because they were inspired by a fighter, it's not the technical piece. It's getting back up, and it's okay to get knocked down. I love watching people get knocked down because my favorite part is seeing how they get up, and that to me is why I love fighting, is how people get up.
Yeah, how they endure. And that was the big story of that second round, that you figured out a way to get through it. And the change in tempo in the third round was very obvious. Because the sprint that you have to make, like what Ilya did when he was trying to finish you, that he used so much fucking energy. And the great Chael Sonnen once said that if you try to win by knockout and fail, you won't win by submission.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's the case because you know as good as anybody, if you fucking sprint it hard, you wail on the bag with fucking everything you got for 2 minutes, and then they go time. 1 minute's not enough. It's not enough.
No. Even in preparation.
Even 2 minutes. They were
Even
still
2
tired
minutes.
after
Yeah,
2 minutes.
that was crazy
Even
too.
in
That was crazy too. We'll talk about
preparation
that.
for these fights, like I'm doing 20, 30, 40-second sprints at most. I mean, that was a 2-minute sprint for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
But full out,
and there's
full
no-
power, everything full power, every punch full power.
You can't even train for that.
Can't. You got to
Right.
have spots.
Right. And he didn't. He was just unloading. I mean, that's a young man with a tremendous amount of confidence because he's a 2-division world champion and he thinks he's going to go down as the greatest of all time. And hey, he might still.
still could. It
He might
depends on how
still.
he comes
What
back,
is
yeah.
he, 28?
The
29.
odds are fucking great against that right now.
Because of that loss?
I hope he does.
I hope he does too. I hope he
does.
does, and I know that he has the skill.
But
I
that's
know
hard to
that he
overcome.
has the skill to be a champion again. However, same thing with Tony Ferguson. I didn't break Tony Ferguson's confidence. I changed the perception of his opponents of him. And that is a huge factor when you go in there. Like, who are you fighting? What do you figure? You know, before this, he was a guy that you couldn't get through, that you couldn't push through, you couldn't survive with. And once I showed people that all you got to do is get through that, then nobody's ever going to go in there with thinking that he's unbeatable now. You know,
Right.
and that was his identity. And, you know, that's going to be such a tough task for him to fight people that aren't scared of him.